Hi guys, my name is Antos, and today I wanted to show you this electric unicycle. It's actually a little device. It's becoming slowly more and more popular around the world. It's basically used for transportation, but I actually have been testing it out to see if it could be used for practical, filmmaking purposes. Especially if you're using, like, let's say, a steadicam or a gimbal. If you can basically ride this thing while using, one of those devices, so that then you can take away basically the up and down motion or the shaking, that it's caused by jumping or taking big steps. So we've been testing it out for about 2 weeks now, and really the first week was just me literally trying to learn to ride this thing. Now it is actually pretty easy to learn. It has these little side steps here, as you can see. The way that this thing operates, it actually has a gyro inside. So it's self-stabilizing. So, like, as you can see, if it's not on, it will just fall over. But if you turn it on here, then as you can see, it self-balances. So it balances basically the forward and back motion. So it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You don't have to really worry about like if you're actually riding a standard unicycle, about falling back and forwards or backwards. Really, the only thing you have to worry about is balancing left and right. Now, when it's just standing like that, this model has 2 wheels sort of next to each other, so it's a little bit more stable. I know there's models out there with just 1 wheel, which then I think it's just a little bit more, a little bit harder to balance. But otherwise, yeah, you just put your feet on this, and then with your feet, you're controlling this thing. So if you press a little bit more to the right, you'll make this thing turn to the right, left to the left, and then the same thing if you want to go forward or backwards. You basically tilt your feet a little bit forward, or your body's weight forward, you go forward, backwards, you go backwards. And on a full charge, which it takes about an hour to charge this thing, hour and 10 minutes depending, it will go on for around, I've been averaging around 6-7 miles, and that's going up a lot of hills or down hills, which that's where this thing really uses up a lot of the battery. The fastest I've been able to go is around 11 miles an hour, but you can go up to around, I think, 15 miles an hour. But I'm noticing that around 10-11 miles an hour, once you start basically reaching that speed, the device itself will actually kind of push you back to try to counter it, so to kind of basically stop you from going faster. Now, if you're really going to push the limits of this thing, like I did once when learning, and you keep on pushing beyond that point, you're risking, actually falling off, and you could injure yourself. I've fallen off like 2 times, you could say, sort of face first, and that's only because I've been really pushing this thing. But otherwise, like I said, if you're just going within the reasonable speed, so if you want to get a shot of somebody, I think, walking or running even, then this device, I think, will help you a lot. And now, you could obviously get a moving shot of, let's say, somebody walking in the street. If you're just simply, let's say on the back of a pickup truck, or even, stick the camera out the window, let's say, or camera gimbal out the window of a car. But the problem with that, obviously, is a car can only go to so many places. Now this thing, if you can see, it's very small. It's very quiet also. Like here, if I go, it does not make any noise. You cannot hear it. So it's super quiet. You can even ride it inside malls and things like that. I've tried it. I've been riding it around New York City in different places. I went into, for example, just to test it out, I went actually shopping once at a grocery store. Nobody minded this thing. So it's really cool in that sense. It's very narrow, as you can see. So pretty much anywhere that you can fit in walking with the gimbal, you can fit with this thing. So you can go on sidewalks, for example, get a tracking shot of somebody that's walking on a sidewalk. And it really makes your life, in my experience, easier. But it's only for with shots that are actually constantly moving, because unless you have really good balance, which I think I'm average, but I'm definitely not somebody really good, then you might have problems balancing basically left and right on this thing. And I'll show you in a minute sort of how it works. But that's really where I would say that the problem with this is. It's sort of, like I said, it operates like a bicycle, because the front and back balance is taken care of for you by the gyro. So really, you have to balance left and right. And if you know any about riding bicycles, when you have the forward momentum, it's easy to balance yourself. But if you're standing still or going very slowly on a bicycle, then it's very you tend to sort of fall left and right. So it becomes very hard at that point then to try to balance it. So that's really the only thing, is that if you want to get shots where you're moving really slowly, like super slowly, then you're gonna just need more time to practice with this. Now you can ride this very slowly. You can stand in one spot. You can go backwards, like I said. but you know, it's just going to take more practice, and you do have to have some sense of balance. Now, for example, when I was testing this out for the first few days, just started learning to ride this thing. There were some kids riding skateboards, for example, and they wanted, you know, they were just sort of interested seeing what this little device was, and they asked me to use it. I gave it to one of the kids, and I got to tell you, you know, kids who know, for example, how to ride a skateboard, they were able to get on this thing and they just use it right away. And not only that, but one of the kids was able to even do little tricks and jumping off and stuff like that. So it's, if you have, like I said, if you have experience riding, let's say, a skateboard or surfing or something like that, and you just have a really good sense of balance, then you probably won't have any problems, and you can start reusing it right away. Otherwise, the learning curve is not bad for this. It will take you, like me, it took basically two tries. So one time I rode it for about an hour with these little training wheels that come, that you just attach here, and then it's super easy because you don't know where you can fall off. The only problem with the training wheels is that they make a little bit of noise and it's harder to turn left and right. But I used it with that, and then the second day I used it with this little, it's like a little string that they give you, the strap, and you just hold it here to kind of, in case you do fall off, so you can kind of hold it upright. And that makes it, again, easier. So those were basically 2 times I did it. So for like 1 hour one day, another hour another day. And then the third time, you know, ever since, I've just been riding it on its own. And since then, I haven't really fallen off, you know, except those 2 times, like I said, when I was pushing the machine, trying to go as fast as I could. So definitely, you know, be careful with that. Other than that, like I said, riding with the gimbal, you know, definitely if you have a smaller gimbal, like I was riding it, you know, with those little handheld gimbals for the GoPro camera, it's no problem at that point. You know, very easy and very cool way of getting shots. And like I said, you can go onto sidewalks, between cars, you know, anywhere you want. You can go back and forth. It's really cool. When you're going with a bigger gimbal, it's just, you know, it's good thing is with the gimbal is that, you know, even if you're trying to balance yourself when you're going left and right, the gimbal will keep the camera steady for you. Now, when I tried to use this with the steadicam, which you can see some of the shots up here, you know, you can get, you know, smooth shots with the steadicam on this thing, but it's just going to be, like I said, a little bit more practice, and also from, you know, my experience, when you're starting out, usually that's when, you know, when you're getting on it, it kind of becomes a little bit harder to balance. And because of that, it's gonna be hard to have like a very static shot at the beginning and then start riding this thing, unless you get really good at taking off in a smooth way. You know, or if you're using a gimbal. If you're using a 3-axis gimbal, then it's no problem. So yeah, so combined with that, I think it's a cool little device. This might be a really, really cool way of getting those running or walking shots, you know, outside or indoors, because like I said, it's electric, it's quiet, it's clean. You know, there's really nothing bad to say about the device. And now it's just a really cool little device if you just want to get it for yourself, you know, to, like I said, I've been riding around New York City to go, you know, do some grocery shopping and things like that. Really cool thing. Now you are going to get a lot of people stopping and looking at you, or, you know, calling you over to kind of to explain to them what this thing is, because it is so unique looking and not many people have seen it yet. So just be ready for that. Pretty much at every corner you're going to be riding this thing, people will stop you and ask you questions. But you know, outside of that, it's a really cool device, and you know, this is just one of the models that the company offers. Again, if you want more information, just check on the links in the description, you know, of this video, or go to my website at tomantosfilms.com. This one is made by Airwheel. They have a few other models that are, you know, some of them I believe go a little bit faster. They even have one model that has 2 wheels. And it's basically this way, it's stable in all directions. So that might be another, you know, better option for filmmaking purposes. This is the one that I chose just because it has the biggest battery and the longest range, which I thought is the best. And it does have those 2 wheels, so it's a little bit more stable. Now, you know, let me just show you quickly sort of how you know, when you're getting on it, how this works. So one tip I'll give you, one thing that I learned is that when you're getting on it, instead of having basically 1 foot behind and then putting, let's say, 1 foot under and then jumping forward on it, is, you know, it's better to have the machine sort of like directly, you know, between your legs. So basically don't do this, don't go behind the machine and then put your leg forward and then the other one forward. Just in my experience, it's a little bit harder to balance. Just sort of go right over the machine, put one leg over, and then the other one, you jump on the other pedal, and then you can stand on it. And you know, as you can see, standing in one spot is not the easiest, but once you start moving, like I said, if you have that momentum backwards or forwards, then it's a lot easier. So let me maybe go a little bit back here and demonstrate it. So as you can see, it's a cool little device. If, like I said, if you just want to use it for commuting around town, but if you want to use it for filmmaking, it can be used. It's just not in every situation. Simply because, like I said, it's unless you're really good, at keeping your balance. Just because it can be hard going really slowly. Now, if you're going fast on this thing, it's super easy. Now, last thing I would just say maybe is watching out for is, even though this thing has pretty decent sized wheels, it's just if you're going, let's say on a street where there's a lot of potholes, if you go into those bigger potholes, it might sometimes want to sort of like throw you, off the machine if you're not careful with where you're putting your balance. So just be careful of that. So try to pick smoother surfaces. Now, little bumps are okay, but just when there's like a really big pothole, you could fall off there. So definitely, what you don't want to do is just completely keep your eyes on the camera and not look where you're going. So that's why I think with a gimbal, with a 3-axis digital gimbal, it's probably the best combo of using it, because with the 3-axis gimbal, you can kind of get your framing, and you can still keep looking forward. Let's say if you're going, let's say in that direction, and you have the camera pointing sideways, and you can look forward, you can see where you are, and every so on just glance at the camera, and if you need to readjust your framing. So with a 3-axis gimbal, I think it's a really good combination. With the steadicam, you can do it. It's just a little bit harder because, like I said, it's that balance. Keeping that balance when you're going really slowly or when you're starting out is not going to be the easiest. But anyways, if you guys again want more information about where to get this or check out some of the other models that the company offers, then just go to my website at tomantosfilms.com. Thank you.